Welcome to this webinar. This afternoon we'll just have a quick look at NetSuite with our eInteract solution, specifically around the IT reseller industry. Take about half an hour. We'll start off with a few PowerPoint slides just to introduce who we are at Nolan and introduce a bit about the solution, and then just a brief demo of NetSuite just to give you an idea of what it is we're really talking about. Okay, so as I say, firstly, who are Nolan? Secondly, who are NetSuite? What exactly is the eInteract solution? Then the demo, and then we can have some questions at the end if there's time there. So Nolan Business Solutions, if you haven't sort of met us before, we were established in 1988, so we're over 25 years old now, celebrating our 25th year this year, so that's something we're quite proud of. We're currently around 40 employees. That really covers the offices here in the UK. We're based in Fleet in Hampshire in the UK, but there's consultants all over the country. Plus there's the operation over in the US and also an office over in Australia as well. So we are a global reseller. We have about 1,500 customers globally. A lot of those customers are just using our kind of add-on modules for both NetSuite and for Dynamics GP, although we are directly supporting about 150 sites here in the UK, and we look after their entire ERP or CRM systems. We're a NetSuite solution provider and developer. Our NetSuite developers have recently passed their exams, as it was a new initiative NetSuite released in the last few months, so we're pleased they've done that. It means the whole NetSuite kind of third-party community has to pass these exams now to better release Suite apps, and our guys were amongst the first to achieve those certifications, so that's something we're quite proud of. And lastly, just on this slide, we ourselves use NetSuite extensively in all of our different locations. We find it's a really good fit for our business with its blend of functionality around sort of service companies as well as just pure, wholesale distribution companies as well. We're very proud of our development expertise. So as I say, we're a solution provider and developer. The fixed assets module, which is now actually a standard NetSuite module, is actually written by us here in Fleet. That's our claim to fame in the NetSuite world. We actually wrote that module ourselves here and sold that onto NetSuite. There's various other things we've written as well. The electronic supply chain or the one-trail integration, which is really what we're looking at today. Also, there's an electronic payments module for doing the back payments, advanced bank reconciliation. We've got a barcode scanning solution. There's various e-commerce solutions. Some courier integrations we've done as well around NetSuite. And really, those bits of work and other development projects we've taken on, go across multiple industries, across software companies, professional services organisations, and warehouse distribution businesses as well. The Built for NetSuite badge on the bottom right of that slide is important. If we publish a Suite app for NetSuite, the NetSuite will look at that Suite app, basically take us through a process and sign it off. Once they're happy it's got the correct security in it, it's robust, it's tested, they issue this Built for NetSuite badge. We then have to reapply for that twice a year, so NetSuite will check that we keep our Suite apps up to date with their new product releases, which they do twice a year. So it is a moving target. We have to continue to make sure that we are testing and upgrading our solutions alongside the NetSuite upgrades. So obviously we work very hard to maintain that accreditation for our products, and it just means that it's always up to date. Some of our customers, not all of these using NetSuite, but a lot are. We also do quite a lot with Microsoft Dynamics GP as well, but we're very active in the IT reseller world. We have about 10% of CRM's top 100 IT resellers in our customer base, so it really is an industry that we focus very heavily on. NetSuite themselves, so they're about 2,500 employees now. They're growing very, very quickly. Actually, they've released new figures since this slide was put together. They took on 360 new customers in the last quarter. There aren't many ERP solutions that can have that claim really. So they're growing very, very quickly. They've now got over 20,000 businesses using their solutions. And there's some, as you see there, and there's some quite big names using NetSuite now as well. Procter & Gamble, Groupon is one that always seems to crop up, and they actually also use our electronic payment solution as well. So they've been quite a good customer for us all. This slide really just gives a very, very high-level overview as to what NetSuite is. It's a lot more than a traditional ERP system. So it's got the PSA element at the top here, the professional service automation, which brings things like project management, timesheets, expenses, resource planning, those the service elements really. A full CRM solution. You know, we sell it as a standalone CRM sometimes, so it will compete up against the likes of Dynamics CRM or Salesforce, etc. There's a complete CRM solution in there that's fully integrated with everything else. The core ERP, so that, you know, the order handling, sales and purchase, ledgers, the general ledger, the basic ERP functionality is core to the product and fully integrated with CRM. And there's a whole e-commerce portion as well. So you know, we do have customers actually host their whole website within NetSuite, a whole e-commerce website hosted with a NetSuite account as well. All that wrapped around a single data source. It is just one solution that has all those things in it. It isn't several solutions that we're bolting together, different third parties bringing in. This is just one solution that does all of those things. So around the edge there is just all the different stakeholders that might sort of log in and use NetSuite. I guess the noticeable ones there, the ones in the red squares. So you also get a customer portal, a free customer portal with NetSuite, so your customers can log in, log support cases with you, look at their account, get transaction history and so on. And you can also do that for vendors and for partners as well, as a partner center, which you can log into, which we do with NetSuite themselves actually. So just to sort of drill into the CRM a little bit further, so what's in the NetSuite CRM solution? There's, starting from the top, marketing automation, so you can use NetSuite to run your marketing campaigns, send emails, email campaigns out, track the opens and click-throughs and so on. The nice thing about that is you get to build those campaigns out of your CRM data, so your marketing lists come from your own solution. So you know, it might be that you want to market everyone who bought a server 3 years ago who you know is going to be coming up for warranty renewal fairly soon, try and sell them extended care packs or a new server or whatever. So having that marketing tightly bolted with your ERP is really powerful. There's opportunity management, sales forecasting, quote management, order management, sales commissions. Commissions is one that we always have fun with amongst the IT reseller community. Everyone's always got a different way of doing it. Some, well, most of them quite complicated. And there's a standard NetSuite module that does it, or we've actually written our own software around that area as well, because we typically find that people have very, very bespoke requirements for sales commissions. Customer service, so as I say, there's case management within NetSuite, which you can use as a sort of a ticketing system for running a help desk or just an internal customer service department. So that's, again, builds up this 360-degree view of your customer, having things like customer services tied to the marketing and the core ERP as well. Upsells and renewals, again, that's just part of the CRM. So all of that sits on top of really the multi-currency, multi-subsidiary, multi-tax sort of nature of NetSuite as well. Just to drill into the ERP, so really this gives the high headlines here. So starting at the top, the core accounting system, the general ledger. NetSuite began its life actually called NetLedger, so it began as a GL and everything's been built on top of there. So unlike a lot of systems that started as a CRM and then they bolt in other finance packages, NetSuite went the other way and started as finance. So it's a really mature, full-functioned finance system behind, sitting at the bottom of NetSuite really. Next to that, purchasing, so full purchase order processing. We're starting from requisitions with approvals, purchasing. With our solution, we integrate that with distribution as well. Inventory management, there's some manufacturing elements to NetSuite, order fulfillments, billing, project management, time and expenses. The payroll there is really only a US payroll. There isn't really a UK payroll just yet, so we kind of let's cross that one out. Revenue recognition module is very strong. If you're doing any contract billing, that's very, very powerful. We do have software companies that use NetSuite who are sort of billing annually but want to recognise revenue monthly and so on. NetSuite will automate that for you. And fixed assets up there, which should have a little Nolan logo in the corner of that one, really, but that was the module that we wrote and, as I say, sold on to NetSuite. In the centre here, it's around this real-time dashboards, budgeting, reporting. So there's a full kind of reporting system within NetSuite. It's dashboard-driven, so you can get your KPIs and charts and graphs and so on from your dashboards. It's good budgeting. Because it's just one system, fully integrated, everything's always real-time. We're not having to push data out to a data warehouse, and then have a separate third-party reporting solution to pull data back. Everything just sits within NetSuite itself. Okay, so looking at the eInteract solution here, this is, I guess, what we typically see within an IT reseller type customer. Is that down the right-hand side, they're mostly dealing with a variety of different suppliers. There's only sort of half dozen or so here, but typically there'll be many more than that. And there's guys at the distie here who are on the phone, taking orders, account managers, and so on, and maintaining that communication between the reseller here in the centre and the people at the distribution. And this is really the information that's flowing backwards and forwards. So product data, we all know multi-resellers will sell over 500,000 or up to 500,000 products or more in some cases. There's huge product catalogues to maintain. There's price lists, there's stock availability, purchase orders, got to go backwards and forwards. Order status updates, so is it in stock, and when's it going to be delivered? Shipping notifications and tracking. Purchase invoices coming back through. General sales reporting, inventory reporting, so a lot of reporting elements to it as well there. And there's guys in the reseller here who are trying to maintain all this information, maintain this communication flow between distribution and the IT reseller itself. Back in the office at the IT reseller, just postpone my hardware scan. Oops. So back at the back office here, we see the reseller CRM system, which is typically not connected or a third-party system to the actual ERP solution, and there might be some connection in place here, some integration software sitting between the two. They've always got a website, maybe that's an e-commerce site or like a customer portal, maybe it's just a kind of a shop window site. So typically there's a minimum 3 systems. More often than not, there'll be a timesheet, there'll be expenses, there'll be some sort of ticketing system, and others, a repairs database, or returns, or all sorts of different things we see. So it's not uncommon for us to see 6 or 7 or even 8 different systems in place, and all those systems are trying to talk to each other and trying to be maintained, upgraded, and so on. And these poor chaps in the middle are having to update each of these systems, and say there may be some integration between them, but often that's not ideal and a little bit cheesy. But these poor guys in the middle kind of go around the twist trying to maintain all these different communication flows between these different systems and people. So what we've done, unsurprisingly, is just to try and simplify all this and just to automate a lot of this work. So we still have the same list of suppliers, that's never going to change, and we still have the same information we need to pass between and all. But instead of sitting people at either end, we sit systems at either end really. So we work in partnership with OneTrail.net. They're a kind of a hub that's in the centre of this, and they maintain the connections out to each of the distribution partners. We have done direct connections into distribution partners as well, particularly if, in Microsoft Dynamics world, we do a lot of those connections directly. But often it's easier to bring OneTrail and let them worry about those connections of each of those different partners, and then we just put one system at the back end and maintain one connection from NetSuite or from Dynamics GP straight into OneTrail. So you notice here we've taken out the CRM, the ERP, the e-commerce, and just replaced it with one single system, which is NetSuite. So we're not having to maintain multiple systems at the back end, just one system there. So the whole thing is much simpler, much more streamlined. So a typical transaction kind of looks like this. So start off with a quote. Quote goes off, gets signed off, becomes a sales order. Maybe the sales order's, I think that sign off's in the wrong position there, but that basically order gets signed off. Then we've got to raise a purchase order. Quite often these are back-to-back purchase orders that get delivered straight to the customer, or there'll be ones we're bringing into the warehouse, or indeed we're shipping straight from the warehouse out to the customer. But back-to-back is usually quite a large percentage of the orders amongst the retailer community. And that brings problems because we don't know when that's been delivered to the customer, so we've got to get a proof of delivery and find out when that's being gone to the customer, what's the tracking number, and so on. So that can quite often be an inquiry into the disties web portal, or a call to the account manager, or some other communication there. Then we get a purchase invoice come back in, which has got to be keyed in and matched against that purchase order. At that point, we typically raise a sales invoice, or maybe that happens earlier in the stage. And we're going to do all those things before we can get paid, and then we got to also pay our suppliers. So there's an awful lot of steps in the process between actually selling something and receiving the cash. And all that's quite time consuming and quite costly. So our system with eInteract, we just simplify that and just take it and automate as much as possible. So we get the quote in, the rest we automate as much as possible, so we get that cash receipt happening much quicker with far fewer steps in the process, and therefore a much lower cost per sale. Maybe that oversimplifies it a little bit, but I'll go on and show you how we do that so you get an idea as to how it works. So just to, I guess, break down the components of the solution, particularly with the integration out to OneTrail here. So with the eInteract, we now get an automated product catalog. So we get daily updates of any new products that are released from distribution. They go into OneTrail, get normalized, and then they push those updates out to us. And NetSuite will sit and pull those updates and import them into NetSuite automatically. That just happens automatically every day. No longer are we importing CSV files or manually keying in products. They just come in automatically. That's a big benefit to start with. We can then do price and availability lookups from inside NetSuite. So right when you're inside your CRM system putting on a quote, you can say, right, I want to sell this particular laptop, hit a button and say, right, who's got that in stock and how much I'm going to pay for it. So we haven't got to go off and use a third-party solution to do that. We haven't got to go off to the disties web portals or pick up the phone to find information out. That's available within your CRM system when you're entering your quote. And we can also do that from the sales order or from the purchase order or from the inventory item itself. We can also integrate rich product data from Metalize or IceCat or anyone else really. There's an IceCat one I'll show you in this demo. There's various web portal or e-commerce site solutions as well. If you looked at www.nolansdemo.com, that's a sample e-commerce site that we've put together for IT resellers. Lots of options around that, which we can cover later on if anyone's interested. And then we get the EDI really, so the seamless integration of purchase orders, of purchase order confirmations, shipping details, proof deliveries and purchase invoices there. Okay, so enough PowerPoint. Let me just give you a brief run through, an overview of NetSuite and just show you a transaction going through start to finish. Okay, so this is NetSuite. I'll just give you a. I've just timed out. Let me just refresh that while I've been talking. Yeah, it has. Just give me 2 seconds just to restart my browser. There, it's just it will time out while it's left inactive, which is what you want it to do, really. What's happened? Okay, so let's log this in. So just to do a quick kind of look and feel as an overview as to what's in NetSuite here. So we start off with a dashboard, it's the administrator's dashboard, so we can see things like sales orders by sales reps, and we can drill in to see what orders actually make that up. If we go into a Wolf's Bar, we'll get a list of the sales orders that make up that particular bar there, so you get these different charts where you can drill down to the underlying data. There's a new release of NetSuite along the way, and you'll get a portlet like this that gives the extra information as to what's going to be in that release. There's a new user interface, which we're quite excited about, which we'll be seeing shortly. Just close that one down for now. You can get other types of charts, weekly total sales orders, weekly new business trend, or whatever it might be, and you can build these graphs up and add them onto your dashboards as you see fit. These key performance indicators are quite good, so we can see sales this month versus last month. Well, this demo data hasn't got much in it, but you can see, you get the idea. The bank balance this month versus last month, receivables, payables, and so on. And again, you can customize these KPIs to be applicable to your job role. So if I changed into just a sales reps role, you'll see the dashboard will change just to be one that's relevant to that particular job. So here we've got a list of the new aspects coming in, quotes of the forecast, estimated commission, what opportunities is that person working on, so that's their kind of to-do list, if you like. They're the ones that are going to be closing, and so on. Sales by sales rep is still available to the sales rep itself, so we find people like that, generates a bit of competition within the sales team. So you get the idea. It's dashboard driven, really, a lot of it. You can customize those dashboards as you want to. You've also got a really good search function in NetSuite. So if we come and use this, what we call the global search, if I come in here and just type in the word Smith, it'll go off and return anything where it finds the word Smith. If I do con Smith, it will just return contacts containing the word Smith. Or if I was to do company Smith, it will just obviously give us, hasn't found any, just give us company names there. We can also search in there for transaction numbers, or invoice numbers, purchase order numbers, that kind of thing. Customers' purchase order reference numbers, always a popular one. Really good help function within NetSuite, very mature help in there. Also a complete support system from NetSuite themselves, lots of training videos and that sort of stuff, which is people quite like with NetSuite as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and just pop through a transaction. So pop in a quote, we'll take it through to an order, we'll raise the purchase order, send it off to the distie, and then just see that being delivered and being invoiced and being imported back into NetSuite. So just go ahead and enter a quote. I should say that each of these forms are customizable as well, so if you see fields that aren't relevant to you here, you can switch them off, or if you want additional fields and so on, or want to change the layout of this form, that's very, very easy to do, just using these customize options. So we're going to pick our customer at the electric. And I'm just going to keep it simple and just put in a CNO1, which is a Targus note pack bag. I'm going to come in and say run the P&A lookup, the price availability lookup. Then NetSuite runs off to OneTrail, and this demo set I've got two disties enabled, so Tech Data and West Coast. And this is a real-time lookup, so it's saying with Tech Data I've got 4 available, and we pay £17.14 for them. West Coast have got a few more in stock, but we're paying a bit more for them. And Tech Data, it's available to promise for tomorrow, so I'm going to go ahead and order this from Tech Data. We'll pick that as the preferred supplier. We're only putting the quote on at this point, but it's just, it gives you that information to better base your pricing and so on straight from, and when you're talking to the customer, you know when they're going to get it. If we click on the product data sheet, we also trigger off to IceCat, just to pull back that kind of rich content about this particular item. So if you need graphics on it, or you want to get the specs of that particular item and so on, you can get that straight from within your CRM as well. We can print and email that out to the customer if you want to. So I'm going to pick Tech Data. We're going to buy it from them. Should this quote go ahead? Just select that. That just writes that back onto the quote just as a record of it, really. We can then go ahead and say, well, we're paying £17 for it. We're going to charge 25 for it. We'll add that line in. We can add other lines in here. So there's about 200,000 items in this dem set. We can come in and sort of search for them. Searching is quite good. So we need 32 gig iPads, so we can start to break down the different items just by searching within here, and then just pick the one that you want to do. But we'll keep it simple. Just stick with the one line for that for the purpose of this demo. Okay, and just save that away. So we can email the quote out straight from NetSuite if we want to. We can email it straight out. We can print it. We can send it electronically. There's options for DocuSign for electronic sign-off on that as well if you wanted to go down that route. But for this example, we'll assume we've emailed that out, and I've come back to we want to go ahead. I'm just going to kind of accelerate the workflow here and say, right, let's just go and create a sales order. Assume that's just been sold, and we're going to move that straight onto sales order. I haven't got to rekey anything. Just going to push that quote up to a sales order. I'm just going to save it. Obviously, I can enter any additional information in here, customer's purchase order number, that kind of thing. Would probably go at that point. This term set to an approval workflow. So this actually goes in with a status of pending approval. So I'm going to go ahead and approve it. You don't need to use that, or we can set limits in. So if it's if it's an order over a certain value or something, you might want to have it approved. If it's below a certain value, then perhaps you're not interested in the approvals process for that. Okay, so It's created the sales order, it's created the purchase order. I'm just going to open both of these in different tabs. And if I go back to the sales order here, we'll see that the purchase order number at line level is linked here, and we can click that link to get through to the purchase order itself. And there may be obviously different purchase orders for each line. So there's our purchase order. It hasn't been submitted to OneTrail yet, so it hasn't actually been sent out. It again falls into a queue to be sent. We can automate that process if we want to, but this demo set is set to come and be sent out manually. We support special bids, special deal referencing and so on as well at order level, so if we need to use those, then that's no problem. So I'm just going to go ahead and save and submit that electronically. So that's then going to send that off to OneTrail, who will then pass that on. If one goes to OneTrail first, they check it, make sure everything's okay with the purchase order, then it gets sent off to the supplier. So typically you have these scripts running on a scheduled basis, which then go off and pick up the messages back from OneTrail. For the purposes of the demo, I'm just going to kick them off manually here, rather than having to wait for these scheduled scripts to kick in. So if I just check my email, we should get some email confirmations back anyway. Let's just refresh my email. Let's take a few moments just to bounce off of OneTrail's test servers. There we go. So we've got the order receipt acknowledgement has happened. Just open that one. So we get an email back from OneTrail to say, yep, that's been sent. That's all okay. We've checked that PO. We're happy with the sort of status of it. That's okay to send. And then we get an order response back from the distributor itself. I'm just going to kick off these updates before we look at that. So check for order responses. And I'm going to process those responses now. As I say, the two steps I've just taken there, you wouldn't take in the real world. That's just for this demo that I'm having to kick those processes off rather than sitting and waiting for these scripts to run. They usually runs for every half an hour or something. But we do get that email back that just says, right, your number was, your purchase order number was 368. Our sales order number is this. It's been accepted. It's complete. Here's a shipping address and so on. Just so it just confirms the details of that order, so you know it's gone through successfully. So having kicked that off, we should see this now change from a status of submitted. If I just refresh, just did F5 to refresh the browser. It's now been, it's confirmed, it's been accepted, so that's great. So we now know back in our system that order's gone through. We can be confident that's gone to the supplier and that's going to be sent off, that bag is going to be sent back to our customer. So the next process is just to run this process order responses. So check for order responses first. We download them, then we process them. It takes a few seconds to run, but when that runs, basically that will say, so yeah, we'll get an email. Let me show you the email. So we get the dispatch advice email here. Dispatch advice, we now know that's been sent off. There's a dispatch advice number. One package has been sent, and it's been sent today to that address. And back in NetSuite, we should see this to say, so we've currently got pending receipt. If I refresh, let's refresh again. Let's wait for these scripts just to tick through. Let's try, as I say, we do bounce off the OneTrail test servers. It sometimes does take a few seconds just to pull through. Let's just try that again. Check for dispatch devices. Apologies, I picked the order responses, which should have been a dispatch device. That's my mistake there. While it's doing that, I might just to make sure it doesn't come up, just close my email down so it doesn't keep pestering us, because we've had all the responses there. There we go. So now we can see that the purchase order has changed to a status of pending bill. And if we look at our related records here, we can now see that an item fulfillment has been created. If I drill into it, we'll see that has been shipped. If it's serial tracked, we get the serial number come back through, so we know the serial number of that particular item that's been sent out. And if there's been a package tracking number assigned, we get that as well as the courier, so we can then go to the courier's website and track that through. So the last step is just to check on the supplier invoices, and then to process them. And I'll just come back to the purchase order there. I should also say that part of that fulfillment will actually fulfill our sales order as well. So if I refresh my sales order here, we'll see the status here will say, will change as well from pending fulfillment to pending billing. So because obviously it's a back-to-back drop ship PO, that will in fulfilling the purchase order, that also fulfills the sales order as well. So we'll see if that invoice has been posted. So now we're at a status of pending bill. So by refreshing, hopefully the scripts are run, and we'll see that now it says fully billed. So the invoice has been pulled back in to NetSuite. It's been imported. It's been matched off against this purchase order. And if I drill down here, we'll see the invoice itself that's been posted. So we can see there's our invoice number. It's coming from Tech Data. It's been automatically imported and posted against and matched off against that purchase order. So we haven't had to rekey that information, haven't had to receive that on a PDF or on paper and sit and key that in. That's just happened directly been sent directly from the distributor straight into NetSuite. So the last step really would just be to create our sales invoice, which typically you're doing a batch. Typically people want to do that step manually, so maybe at the end of the month, end of the week, whenever you often do your sales billing. So that concludes the demo really. If there's any questions, please feel free to use the chat panel or to contact me afterwards. So my name is Mark Hennessy, and I'm available on 01252 811 663. Thank you very much.